Ryan, joining me today is Andreas Berg Gustafsson, who fights Pat Pitlick at Dana White's Contender Series 2. That fight is on August 20th. So, Andreas, when I talk to people who are about to be on Contender Series, I always got to start with the question, what was it like getting the call? What was it like finally getting that invite? Who told you? What was the reaction?
Yeah, of course it was a relief to finally get the call, and that's one thing you always strive for. And uh, my first thought was that was about time, and it was my manager Zlatko who owned the organization back here at home FCR. Who called me and said we have a date and we go to Vegas. So yeah, just happy. Finally got to go to Vegas.
Absolutely. And you said in there, it's about time, right? Because you've had huge fights. You fought for KSW, you fought for Brave, you fought big name fighters in there too, guys who are now in the UFC.
Yeah.
What was it discouraging, having to do, so much more than a lot of other fighters do to get to this point?
Yeah, it has been kind of frustrating, yeah, like you said, some of the fights I've been to, they have been to the UFC and are in UFC right now. Jolton Luterberg, who's fighting now in Saudi Arabia. We had a really close fight, and we got to the judges' score, and even. I lost that fight, but Jolton said to me after the fight, I have no idea I won that fight. I thought you won the fight. So he was kind of surprised that he got the victory. But yeah, that's the way it is. I'm not sad or angry about that. I'm just happy to get this opportunity to show everybody I fit in the UFC.
Absolutely. And you mentioned going to Vegas, and I'm assuming you're there now. What was sort of no, not there now?
No. I'm home here in Sweden now. We come home last week from Vegas with the UFC media day or all that.
Oh, okay. Good to hear that. Good to hear, because obviously I want you in your best fight camp. Now, let's talk a little bit about. I want to talk about your style for people who haven't seen you. Because I know you come from a Greco-Roman background, right? Like you've got some Greco-Roman skills.
Yeah, absolutely.
But if you watch your fights, man, you've clearly fallen in love with banging, right? Like you love to go in there and throw hands. An insane 10-second KO last time. You got the Lampinen fight, which was, absolute fireworks nonstop.
Yeah, it was good.
Is it just that you've fallen in love with this style of fight? Like, why do we not see more of that Greco-Roman background?
I know. I know I'm a Greco-Roman fighter, and I just got tired of wrestling. From wrestling through all my amateur career, and one submission after submission, and it's no fun to watch. But it's no fun to watch if you go to an event and you see two guys wrestling for 15 minutes. That sucks. People want to see bangers. They want to see blood. They want to see some of us getting killed in the cage. And I love that. I love that. I know I can take much damage before I go down. I don't know where my limit goes, but of course I have a limit. But I love a good dog fight, just like you said, Lampinen fight. That was the first time I cut down to welterweight, so it was kind of weird to cut that much weight. I took the weight in about two weeks weight cut from 93 to 77. So it was a tough weight cut, but this time it will be different. I'm starting dieting now, so it won't get so tough.
Well, that's good to hear. Good to hear. And I want to, you mentioned all through your amateur career wrestling too. And I wanted to ask you about that too, because, you just talked about Luterbach, who's fighting at UFC Saudi Arabia, which is a couple of days away when we're recording this. And But you've also fought, you fought Christian Leroy Duncan while you were an amateur.
Yeah.
You fought Dominic Umberger, who's an octagon guy and a high level fighter.
Yeah.
You spent a lot of time on the AMI scene. Is that sort of the reason you feel that you've been so successful, or what sort of took you so long to decide to turn pro?
It didn't take so long to decide to go pro. I was only amateur for I don't know 2 years maybe, and that's not long here in Sweden. Often we have a long amateur career behind us just for the preparation, and and I like that. It's good to have many amateur fights before you go pro. Because then you start counting the records. Then the records mean something. Amateur, it doesn't care if I have 10 losses, but then you go pro, then it's real. I had I don't know. I had 10 fights in amateur. I think 10 or 11. Most of them came from the Worlds in 2018. I went for five fights there in 5 days. It was there I defeated Leroy Duncan. So yeah, I think it's only good if you go amateur first.
And yeah, maybe that's more of what I mean too. Is it's not necessarily a ton of time, but it was a ton of fights, right? Because you jammed them all real close together. Did you in those styles? Obviously, the world you can't do long training camps and stuff, but that style of fighting back to back to back to back, is that something you like to do now that you're pro? Like, would you rather have a fight every couple months or something like that, or is that just like you said, the loss wouldn't even matter if you lost then, so you're more willing to do that kind of rapid style fight?
Yeah. I'm the kind of fighter who likes to fight a lot. As long as I'm healthy and no injuries, I can fight anytime. I'm always try to stay in shape, in fight shape. I love to train. I train, 12 times a week, all the year, never resting. And that's because I can take a fight whenever it comes up. If Dana would have called now, I can travel tomorrow and fight. But I don't like go 1 or 2 fights in a year. I want at least 6 or 7 fights in a year. Who else will remember you then?
Yeah, I love that mentality. Now, I do have to ask then, if you're a guy who likes to fight often, it's been almost a year since we've seen you, right? And obviously the broken nose pulled you out of one fight, and then you had another fight lined up that you had to pull out so that you could take this opportunity. Has that been frustrating for you to kind of have to sit on the shelf and wait for this moment?
Yeah, it's been really frustrating. But like you said, I couldn't do much. A broken nose, of course I can fight with a broken nose, but you never know what the judge is going to say if you bleed too much, if it's in another organization. Now we were back at my hometown in Sweden. The doctor said, it's no fine, it's just blood. Fight, keep fighting, guys. But if you travel to Poland and KSW, if I'm facing a Polish guy, and if I start bleeding that much again, they probably stop the fight, and I got a bad loss. You know what I mean. I don't want to let the judges decide. But it has been very frustrating. I want to fight now.
Well, you got that fight coming up in August. Now, before I get to that, I do got to ask, because I'm an interviewer who really loves getting the story of people's fight nicknames and where they come from. So, I mean, I can make a guess at where Bane comes from here, but you got to tell me the story. How did you become Bane?
I think 95% of the fans and who knows my nickname doesn't know what it stands for. It's actually not the character in Batman. Okay. It's an old Nordic speech. It's called Bane in Swedish, and it's the meaning of Bane. It's how can I put this in English? It's somebody's defeat.
It's like their worst nightmare. Is it like their
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
It's
no
the
problem.
other guy's nightmare. Thank you for that.
We have a word in English that means the same thing. It's the bane of somebody's existence, which I'm pretty sure we just stole from your language anyway. So
exactly.
Awesome. So and you got that through, like your fighting style, I take it then being the guy who gets in people's faces and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm just a guy from the forest who loves a bang, and every fight I'm into. My coach always joking about the rage I came from the forest and just fight, no technique, not the most technical fighter, and just raging, and I love it.
Well, we love watching it. Now, and the next chance we get to watch it is August 20th. Again, Pat Pitlick is going to be the opponent. He's a guy, I mean, he's got 10 pro fights. 9 of them he's won, and all of them being by knockout. So when they offered you him as an opponent, you got a chance to look at him a little bit. What were sort of your first thoughts on Pitlick?
I thought it was a good matchup. Striker versus wrestler. Now I'm not a guy anymore who likes to wrestle a lot, but I can take advantage of my wrestling skills against a striker. I haven't watched him so much. I usually don't do that to my opponents. I'm just creating my own image in the head what I'm going to do, and I'm not focusing what he's able to do. I only know he's a striker, and that's fine for me. Actually, I don't care who I'm facing. It's just a guy I need to beat to get in the big league, and that's not going to stop me.
Well, and you led me right perfectly to my last question. I love to ask these things by asking, how do you see it going? How do you see this one ending come August 20th?
I see it's going to be a hell of a war. It's going to be violent. I know he wants this as much as I do, and nobody's gonna give up. We're gonna fight till one of us is standing, but in the end of the fight, I know I'm gonna be the guy who's standing there with my fist in the air. I know I'm gonna take this.
All right, and you heard it here first, folks. This has been Andreas Berg Gustafsson, who fights Pat Pitlick at Dana White's Contender Series Week 2. Once again, that fight, August 20th. Andreas, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Of course. It's only fun.